whenever you just casually throw around terms like Nazi, like fascist, like Hitler and racist, what do you think the consequences of that ultimately will be? We are better than this as a country. And I'll tell you, as a family member, I keep wondering, how many chances does one man get? He's not going to be lucky enough at some point. Thank God he wasn't at Mar-A-Lago and the First Lady wasn't there this weekend, but you don't get lucky every single time.
Now would be a great time to remind the American people that members of the Trump administration, including agents with DHS, have referred to literal American citizens as domestic terrorists in justifying the fact that militarized federal agents shot and killed them on our own streets. But anyway, that's not what this story is about. This story is about something that's actually pretty terrible, and that's political violence that continues in this country. Earlier this week, in fact, over the weekend, I should say, an armed man was shot and killed by Secret Service after he entered the secured perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. And while Republicans like Laura Trump want to roll out the same talking points about, like, you're calling us Nazis and that's why this is happening. Fact of the matter is, the motivation behind this would-be assassin had to do with the Epstein files. We have some clarity on that. We'll get to it in just a minute, but Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, violence is super dumb. The worst thing you could do, and it hurts any movement that it's a part of. Anna.
So, according to Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, the would-be assassin, they believe that he was attempting to assassinate Donald Trump, was identified as a 21-year-old named Austin Tucker Martin of North Carolina. So Trump was not at Mar-a-Lago when this incident occurred. Now, Martin was confronted inside the north gate of the Mar-a-Lago complex and was carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel canister. Bradshaw said during a news conference on Sunday that the man was told by law enforcement to drop the items. Unfortunately, that's not what he did. The man put down the canister, but raised the shotgun to a shooting position, prompting the dispatched officers to open fire and kill him, according to the sheriff. Now, the family members of the suspect described him as being, it's always the same thing, quiet. He was actually afraid of guns, but that he did grow up in a Trump-supporting household. According to the Associated Press, Braden Fields, who happens to be Martin's cousin, says he wouldn't even hurt an ant. He doesn't even know how to use a gun. He also said that his cousin didn't discuss politics. Quote, "We are big Trump supporters, all of us, everybody," Fields said. But his cousin was real quiet, never really talked about anything. But you know what, that might not be fully true, because according to reports, Martin worked as a groundskeeper at a local golf club for the past 3 years, and TMZ spoke to those who happened to work alongside him. And they say that he was actually pretty outspoken about his Christian faith and political views, regularly supporting Trump through his comments. But more importantly, telling colleagues as recently as late last year that Trump was a strong leader, but that started to change, okay? Sources who worked with Austin at Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club in North Carolina tell TMZ he became fixated on Epstein following the latest release of information tied to the files. Co-workers tell us he was deeply disturbed by what he believed was a government cover-up and often talked about powerful people getting away with it. Something that we here at TYT have been incredibly frustrated about as well. There have been many revelations from what the DOJ released, as heavily redacted as they are, and we want investigations, possible prosecutions, and it seems like the DOJ is dead set on not doing anything about any of the revelations we're learning about. But in a text message sent to a coworker on February 15th, Martin wrote the following, quote, "I don't know if you read up on the Epstein files, but evil is real and unmistakable. The best people like you and I can do is use what little influence we have. Tell other people about what you hear about the Epstein files and what the government is doing about it, raise awareness." He was also beginning to grow increasingly frustrated, especially regarding our current economic situation. We're told he often complained that young people need 2 jobs or roommates to afford moving out. Our sources say he still lived with his parents. Austin also tried to start a union at work to push for higher wages, but no one signed on. Outside of his job, he was a sketch artist attempting to sell drawings to people locally.
Yeah, so this is indicative of a couple of things, as we've been telling you from day one. Trump's base is going to turn on him, and they have begun to turn on him. And this is taking it way, way, way too far. But it's a small indication of what's happening in the country. But more importantly, it's also an indication of the desperation. So I'm going to repeat, and we've said this probably more than any show, all other shows combined. Violence is never the right answer. It's immoral. We here are part of a nonviolent movement, and we're for peace. We're for peace in the Middle East and here at home, okay? So, but more importantly, or equally importantly, when you do violence, it shuts down a movement. It gives the government an ability to clamp down, do more of a police state and surveillance state. And so do not ever do violence. It is deeply counterproductive and deeply immoral. Okay, now the final part of it gets to the desperation. Guys, there's a head-on collision coming, and I don't know what's gonna happen in that collision. I love predictions, and this is the one I can't make because it's so unpredictable. So what do I mean by a head-on collision? This is like the tip of the iceberg. So we have a whole bunch of super angry young guys. Their wages are super low. Now some of them can't get jobs soon because of the AI catastrophe. A lot of them won't be able to get jobs. And they can't afford houses. The American dream is going away. The prices are too high. The government doesn't ever seem to help them. Whenever they turn, the government's doing something evil, starting a war, getting people killed, doing the Epstein files. And it seems like no matter who you elect, Republican or Democrat, you get the same uniparty. So that desperation is building and building and building. And by the way, a component of that, not related to this story, is the entire establishment saying God loves Israel and Israel is the most beloved country on earth, and you all need to bow down to them and do whatever they say. And now both the right, left, and middle have caught on to the fact that that is not at all true, and our government is lying to us and our national media is lying to us. So, and the establishment is not giving an inch. They're like, no. I mean, this war with Iran that's about to start is the most mental extreme thing I have ever seen. They're not even bothering to justify it. They're not even bothering to claim any American interest at all. Totally mask off, saying we work for Israel and we're gonna force you to pay for this war and do this war for them. That is, and then on the Epstein files, we're not gonna give you the Epstein files, and whatever we give you, we're gonna retract some, redact some, etc. And we're never going to prosecute the predators. Our government is on the side of the child rapists. So what do they think is going to happen with the people? They're gonna get more and more frustrated. So that train is picking up steam.
I think what they're gonna try to do, because I'm already seeing this, being tested online, is they are blaming what happened to all the people who have been covering the Epstein files and applying pressure to the Trump administration to release them, to release the remaining files, which they are refusing to do, and to investigate what very clearly looks like abusive behavior, fishy behavior. Look into it. Show that the government actually has an interest in protecting the American people and carrying out justice for survivors. But they're not doing that. Instead, what they're gonna do is point to this instance and say, if you are applying pressure in regard to the Epstein files, you're gonna get the president killed. You're a domestic terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist, right?
Guys, look, first of all, that's right. Another reason why violence is never the right answer. It's so wrong and so counterproductive. Okay, but as you were talking, Anna, something dawned on me, which I'm now, for the first time, pretty worried about. It's one thing when the war hasn't started, but once the war starts, they've already started to talk about domestic terrorists.
Yep.
Kristi Noem, et cetera, in regards to the ICE protests, and then DeSantis in Florida and Abbott in Texas saying that we could just get secret panels to declare you domestic terrorists, which they've already done to Muslim civil rights groups that have totally clean, couldn't be cleaner, right? And so I think that once the war starts, already it was deeply unpopular. When the Iraq war started, 7 out of 10 Americans thought that Saddam Hussein had attacked us on 9/11. The media lied to them en masse. So it was actually popular in the beginning. 7 out of 10 said yes, go to war, because we thought we were getting revenge. In this case, it's the exact opposite. 7 or 8 out of 10 Americans, depending on the poll, say that they're against the war. So when the war goes south, there will be a lot more upheaval. And when that happens, since they're already deeply unpopular, my guess is the Trump administration is going to start to arrest critics, and not like in the cutesy Don Lemon way, where you get some publicity out of it and they let you go and both sides get a win because here's red meat for both sides, hate each other, right? No, as in, no, we're gonna start rounding people up, right? You're opposing this war, that's it. We're using that as an excuse, you're on the Ayatollah side. So yeah, that's gonna, so God knows what happens to us and Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson and then anyone who's opposed to this war.
Nonetheless, we persist.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.